What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the New York Sports Take. My name is Matt O'Connor. Thrilled to be joined alongside my co-host Andrew Nadler today. It's supposed to be, as I've opened up with the last few shows, a relatively dead time of the sports season. Late February, early March, not a ton happening, especially when we had the Olympic pause in the NHL and the NBA All-Star break. That seems to be a really dull point in time, but there's still so many storylines in sports when you're talking about the combine and our local hockey and basketball teams kind of evaluating where they are at the quote-unquote half point of the year and everything. So in what's supposed to be quiet, it's never quiet here on the New York Sports Take. Always stuff to talk about. Last few times out, though, I've been doing it by myself, couple solo shows to reset, but I am thrilled to be back with one of the proud members of the New York Sports Take team. That's Andrew Nadler. And Andrew, how you doing? How you feeling, my guy?
I'm feeling great. It's always great to be back on the show as an avid listener, as an avid fan of the show as well, and lead social media manager on the TikTok. Please follow. And
yes.
It's always a great time to be on this show. I love it.
Yeah, the TikTok, we've been lacking films. My last couple solo shows, I did get a couple out on the MLB potential lockout situation coming up at the beginning of this new CBA next year. But then my last solo show did not get any clips out. I have getting a job lined enough for the summer, hopefully, so we'll see about that potentially. And but Andrew, NHL, NBA, back in the swing of things. We know our co-hosts, we know their personalities, we know you're not the biggest Knicks guy, but a huge win on the Garden floor yesterday, beating the Spurs 114-89, a statement win. If you watched this game live, you saw right away, it looked like in the beginning stage of this one, in the first quarter, it was not going to be the Knicks' night. They fall behind early. They get themselves in a 19-7 hole early in the first quarter. Jalen Brunson was getting locked down by Stephon Castle over there, the first-round pick out of UConn. Castle had him not scoring, no field goals in the first 8 minutes and 30 seconds of the game for Brunson. And you're just thinking to yourself, man, I mean, we beat this team in the NBA Cup. We played them tough. We dominated the first 42 minutes of the game in San Antonio. They let that one slip away from them in San Antonio. That's kind of kick-started what ended up being a pretty rough losing streak for the Knicks. And you're thinking, man, this is just, San Antonio's one of the best records in the league. They've only team to beat OKC multiple times and beat them handily in doing so. Just a tough spot for the Knicks here. It looked like things were not going to go our way, but really such a well-balanced attack. When you look up to down, everybody played well. Brunson, like I said, the scoring drought that he started with. Then he went on an 11-0 run by himself. Knicks closed that first quarter on, I believe, a 19-0 run, or 26-1 run, bridging the end of the first quarter through the beginning of the second. So they exploded towards the end of that first quarter, most of it coming off the heels of Brunson at that point in time. And you just look at the box score, Drew. I mean, 12 efficiency from everyone. All the starters in double figures. OG had 12, only 12 points of 5 and 9 shooting. We'll touch on him in a little bit, but 5 and 9 shooting, 12 for him. Hart with 10, and then Bridges and Brunson combining for 49 points. Bridges the leading scorer in this one, 25 points, 5 rebounds, and the key number for him in this game, the 5 boards and the 5 steals. Electric on both ends of the floor. So that's where I'll begin, and I'll begin highlighting with him because Mikal Bridges is, I mean, this whole Knicks team is very, very perplexing. A perplexing set of players and starters, guys that we're always talking fondly of, then ripping of them, constantly changing. Mikal Bridges has been one of those guys in his Knicks career, and he will obviously always be compared to what we traded for him, which was 5 first-round picks. So there's a bar on Bridges. Everything that he does on the court, all of his performance is always going to go back for what we gave up to bring him into this team. That's always going to be a talking point with this Knicks. But certain moments that he has, certain games that he has, you see why Leon Rose put so many eggs, traded 5 first-round picks, to get Bridges in return. And yesterday was one of those days where when he's playing like that, things really start to click for you. It was a spectacular game. A few highlight plays from him overall in this one. He had that block. You had Wemby down low in the post. Bridges tips it up, gets the steal, goes down the other end. 5 steals on the day, 2 of them coming off Wemby. One of them he jumped up at half court, tipped it away, got the Garden rocking when he threw that one down. And Drew, when we're just talking holistically from this season, and we'll specifically look into some of the struggles he's had, but yes, hasn't been consistent enough, not a good enough point of attack defender, physical defender. That's really the main knock on him, especially in that side of the ball. But he's shooting just about 50% from the field, 39% from 3, and he's getting a steal and a half a game, which is good in NBA standards. Second best mark of, it's been a long career at this point. And the NBA's Iron Man, 617 consecutive games played. I mean, you remember when this trade was made to break up the to add a Nova Nick, and then subsequently you ship off DiVincenzo. But this was a monumental move that changed the outlook of this franchise. How would you evaluate it to this point? I mean, what do you make of that game yesterday?
I mean, yeah, it's a great game. 25 points, 5 rebounds, 5 steals. I think the 5 steals is probably the stat that you look at the most, and it's like the big wow factor. 5 steals in an NBA game is not easy. And you look back on the trade, 5 first-round picks is diabolical for one player, in my opinion. But
well, it's not the NFL; it's the NBA. You have to keep that in mind.
And but you said it best. He's had his moments, and he's not had his best moments. But it's like, if you look at it in the long run, I feel like he's been really productive for them. You think about it last year in that Boston series, those first 2 games, those huge stops to win the game, where it's like you look back at those moments. You look back at his 40-something point game on Christmas last year against the Spurs. And this year he showed flashes of dominance. And I'm going to build off your point too. He's probably so used to being that number 1 guy on his teams. Like, you got to think about it, he's coming from Brooklyn, where he was the number 1, to the Knicks, where he's like their number 3 option.
It's a great point.
Where it's like, it's hard, where it's like some nights he's in the background, some nights he's in the foreground. And I think as a fan base, look at it in that perspective, I think everything won't be so hard on him.
You were spot on, and it's funny that you bring that up because James Edwards, who is the Knicks beat writer for The Athletic, the affiliate of the New York Post, Rangers lose 5-4 to the Jackets. I thought they were down like 4-0 in that game too. They come back, they lose. But I digress. James Edwards had a solo piece on Mikal Bridges and performance with the Knicks. That's something that he hit. That's something that he mentioned in that article, and there was a couple really intriguing Josh Hart quotes in there about that adjustment for Bridges. One big buzzword around this New York Knicks team this year is sacrifice. Jalen Brunson talks about it. Cat talks about it. I mean, you have a lot of guys who are used to averaging 20 points per game throughout their career with different teams, and they come to this Knicks, and their expectations as far as play style are different because you got Jalen Brunson. You got one of the best pure scorers in the game. You got the guy who won the NBA Clutch Player of the Year last year, and you were going to ride on his shoulders at the end of games to take over and win. So everybody needs to give up a little bit of piece of the pie as far as, shots and having possession of the basketball. And for some guys, that's been easier than others. I mean, you talk about Josh Hart. He's a guy that, he was averaging 20 points per game at a point in his career with Portland, but he's easily capable of shifting to the kind of player that is going to provide great, immense defensive energy for you, get in the passing lanes, drive fouls, be a more physical force. One of the greatest NBA rebounding guards of all time. So it's easier for him to move off that role a bit. Karl Anthony Towns, that's obviously a whole nother conversation. Sometimes he needs to get the ball more. But for Bridges, that is an adjustment that cannot be ignored because sure, he was that player when he got drafted in Phoenix, more of an off-the-ball guy, off-the-ball defender, one of the best off-ball defenders in basketball. Needs to be able to step up in the role of playing on-ball defense. But a guy throughout his career that role changed when he went to the Nets, averaging over 20 a game, being the number one piece by far. There was really nobody on that, and it was a terrible Nets team, very shitty team. Nobody on that team could touch the talent level of Mikal Bridges. And he kind of got, even though the Nets were not good, he kind of thrived in that role. He fed off that mojo, he fed off that energy, and I think he liked that role. And then in a stunning move, I'll grant you that. We could argue how ludicrous giving up 5 first-rounders is. Didn't really see the Knicks doing that. It surprised everybody in the moment. He's been asked to completely change that play style, and it's been up and down. There's no doubt he's made strides from year 1 to year 2. It was a pretty rough transition last year. He had a few highlighters. I don't know. I wish we could play the Spurs 82 games a year because, A, we just play them so well even though they're so good. But Bridges, man, he's got a knack for playing against this team. His best game that he had last year was against them when he dropped the 40-burger on Christmas Day. So for whatever reason, Bridges loves seeing those Spurs colors, and just this fantastic game at the Garden. That's why we're talking about him so much. To your point, Drew, that cannot be ignored. That can be a hard thing to do. Josh Hart acknowledged that as much. Bridges had kind of at the end of the trade deadline, or once, maybe it was the game after the trade deadline had passed, Bridges had some interesting quotes about maybe he, at certain points of his Knicks career, felt a sense of entitlement, his words, and maybe he needs to lean into that buzzword that the Knicks use so often, which is sacrifice it, and maybe it's starting to show here. The Knicks, ultimately, I love Bridges. They do not need him to be the Brooklyn Bridges. They need him to be the Manhattan Bridges. They need him to continue to make shots at a high clip, shoot around 40% from 3, 50% overall. When he's shooting the ball, don't be shy, get off those shots, and be more physical defensively when guarding the ball. Because that's really the main thing, Drew. It's a make or miss league, and there's going to be nights when Bridges has his shot, other nights he doesn't. That's fine, but I mean, it's frustrating when Landry Shamet, who we love and we're very happy he's part of this rotation, is just leaps and bounds so far, and a guy that barely made this roster, who was battling to be on this team during training camp, and if it wasn't for Brogdon suddenly retiring a few days before the start of the season, I don't know if Landry Shamet's on this team, and he's so far ahead of Bridges as an on-ball defender that at some points when Bridges is a non-factor on offense and he's not hitting down the shots and he's struggling when he's paired up with the opposing team's best scorer, there are points in time where you're like, let's just start Landry Shamet. And that's not what you want to say about a guy that you gave up 5 first-rounders for. So big win for the Knicks, too. Listen, Cat was not spectacular in this game. He only 9 shot attempts for him, practically half as many as Bridges. But he made 5 of them. He was a beast on the boards. I understand Wemby, even though he's the biggest alien in the NBA, his frame and size is just ridiculous. I know he's not the best rebounder in basketball, but still, when you're going up against the alien known as...
and you pull down 14 rebounds, you deserve a standing ovation.
Exactly. Sometimes, Cat in that Detroit game a couple weeks back were complaining because he's not taking advantage of his size, particularly on offense, not, pounding the ball, pounding the rock in the paint as much as he should, and getting easy layup attempts. And then he goes up against Victor Wembanyama, and like you said, pulls down as many boards as he did. So he deserves kudos for that. OG had a big stretch there. He started slow. He had a big stretch there in the third quarter where he hit a couple threes, got like 10 of his 12 points in a very small stretch. He was good. His defense was great. Nice game from him. Not really worth talking about OG and Brunson quite as much because they just did their thing. It was great to watch, and Brunson really bridged the gap from the second quarter. Went on that big scoring run there, 7 to 7 from the field, 4 to 7 from 3 as well. So a huge afternoon win at the Garden. A lot of celebrities were in the house. I know you didn't get a chance to watch the game, but it's always fun, man, when you got Ben Stiller, Tracy Morgan, Whoopi Goldberg was there. who's a character. You had, who else was there? There was so many names. Michael Strahan was there.
Spike Lee's always there.
Larry David was there. Who did you say?
Spike Lee, he's always there.
Well, Spike Lee's there probably. I mean, Spike Lee goes to preseason games in Abu Dhabi. Of course, he's going to be there. He does not miss anything.
Celebrity.
He's absolutely, yeah, no, worth mentioning, but all 100% attendance rate. I think Spike Lee would show up with COVID in that building. He doesn't care. He would just go. And yeah, so it was fun to watch. And the Spurs, by the way, Spurs 43-17, I think second in the West. They are a really good basketball team. So it's very encouraging to see the Knicks go up against one of the league's best. And you could say maybe the bigger national narrative around this game, Drew, is less about what the Knicks did and more about, oh man, maybe the Spurs aren't ready yet. Maybe they're a little bit too young. You know, they can't seem to solve the Knicks. Maybe it's more about the Spurs might not being as good as everybody thinks. That's not what I took from it. I think the Spurs are still perhaps just as dangerous as the Thunder. They fared very well against the Thunder, as I mentioned this year. They were 11-0 in February coming into this one, undefeated. They were averaging 100. They were averaging 126 points per game in February. They scored 89 in this one. Knicks D was sweltering. I can't believe we've gone 18 minutes now practically. I've only talked about really offense and Bridges. That's what this really came down to. The Knicks defense was great against a really good scoring team. And you got to be proud of that effort. And now they officially, the Knicks, rank inside the top 10 in defensive rating.
That's always a good thing. You can rank within the top 10 in the NBA in defense. You're doing something right. You give your team a chance to win every night. You can be in that top 10 rank in defensive standings.
Yeah, really simple as that. And tomorrow night, I think it's Indiana, I believe. It might be Toronto. I thought it was Toronto, then it's Indiana.
Yeah, they play Toronto tomorrow night.
Okay, Toronto tomorrow night. Then a huge matchup with the Oklahoma City Thunder, who come rolling into the Garden on Wednesday. So the Knicks have fared well. Their last game against the Raptors, that was also a Bridges standout game. He had like 20-some-odd points in the third quarter and was unstoppable from beyond the arc in that game. So let's see if he could keep those good vibes going. And yeah, big road game. They can't take Toronto lightly. I know they've cooled down over the past couple of months, but Toronto's still a good basketball team. And then after that, I think the schedule cools down a little bit. So always love talking about the Knicks, opening with the Knicks. But another New York team took care of business yesterday, Drew.
Taking care of business.
And that was the Matthew Schaefer, Matty Schaefer led New York Islanders. A huge, monumental, awesome victory over the defending champion Florida Panthers. Final score, what was that, 4-3 or 5-4? 5-4. 5-4.
Watched the whole thing.
Yeah, 5-4 final. Really an unbelievable game, man. I mean, this game. Can we talk about this team in 2-0 deficits? I mean, coming out of the break,
it's like
you
3
go
games
up,
in a row. They go down 2-0, and next thing you know, they just storm back and win. It's like 3 straight games. They start down 2-0, and they just are like, oh, time to lock in.
It's unbelievable. These comebacks have been so fun to watch. I was watching that first game out of the break against Montreal, where Noah Dobson, the former Islander, in his first revenge opportunity against the Islanders, he nets 2 goals. Islanders fall back. They're down 2-0. And you're thinking, oh man, they had that big win against New Jersey going into the break. Dobson's going to probably get the last laugh in this one. And Schaefer scores 2 goals in a 55-second span. One of them on a beautiful wraparound. 2 great goals. I can't even narrate them for you. Just go watch them on NHL.com. He is so amazing. And then how'd they win that game, Drew? Then
J.G. Pajot, overtime winner.
J.G. Pajot on a breakaway. He's been playing really well as of late as well.
The best part about that goal?
What?
Off the face-off, there was a scrum on the wall. And you know who lost that scrum?
Dauber?
Dobson lost the scrum. Holmstrom with the bank pass right up the boards, and Pajot buries it home. 5-1.
Pajot buries it home. He's been on a run of overtime goals and game-winning goals. He's had a couple over the past few weeks. Really seems to be clicking with his lines mates. And these trades have worked out. Carson Soucy scored as well yesterday. He's got 2 goals in 10, 11 games as an Islander. Islanders needed all the goals that they got yesterday. And then following that Montreal game, they're playing Columbus on the road. I actually turned to my friend watching that game. It's the middle of the second period. And just based off, Drew, how well we've been playing lately, and, the Islanders have a ridiculous road-heavy schedule lately. They're fall behind 2-0. It's the second period, early in the second. I turned to my friend watching that game, and I'm like, I would bet the house against the Islanders. I just could not see it happening with the momentum that's been going our way. It just felt like a lost spot for us. And what do you know? They keep battling. They keep grinding against the team below them in the standings for a playoff spot, the Columbus Blue Jackets, playing at home, and you pull that one off on the road, the team breathing down your neck, create a little bit more space there. Another awesome victory. Simon Holmstrom netting the overtime winner for them there. Beautiful backhanded goal if you're able to catch that one. He's on his backhand, just a little fling. He's such a talented goal scorer for us as well. That was a big one too.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Like, the Islanders coming into that, I think they lost their last 3 in a row playing at Columbus, who's a very underrated team. And, yeah, you said they go down 2-0 kind of quickly. Then they rally, come back. We score with the empty net, tie the game, and then they go and win it in OT with a beautiful stretch pass by Tony DeAngelo.
Yeah, I was trying to think who had the stretch because I only caught the end. Yeah, that makes sense. And it's crazy to me because you talk about this team lately. You talk about the name J.G. Pajot scoring clutch goals, scoring in overtime. Tony DeAngelo, suddenly a newfound offensive prowess and swagger out of him. He's scoring from the blue point and the point of attack, putting pucks towards the net, getting assist, getting a stretch pass to Simon Holmstrom to win it in overtime. Carson Soucy, immediate impact in the trade deadline. Andre Palat winning first star of the game, and I think he had 2 points, either 2 goals or a goal and an assist as his first game in an Islanders uniform. Matthew Barzal maybe having a career year. Bo Horvat leading the team in points he's not leading the team in points. Barzal's leading the team in points. Horvat leading the team in goals, having an awesome season. Good thing he lost for Team Canada, though. We're not rooting for him in that regard. It feels like everybody is contributing in a meaningful and positive way.
Yeah.
There are no detriments to this team right now. I mean, over the course of a long baseball season, you got 9 guys in your lineup. There's always going to be a Joey Gallo. There's always going to be an outlier, a guy that's struggling at the plate. You may be winning in spite of him. He may be hitting a $165 or a $170, but there's going to be somebody dragging you down. I can't think of one individual on any of these lines on the New York Islanders right now that is working towards their detriment. They are all clicking, and they are such a resilient bunch. I mean, 3 games in a row out of a 2.5-week, 3-week break, and you come back from multi-goal deficits in all of them. What else can you say? It's truly spectacular. The social media presence for this team is off the charts this year. Lou Lamoriello was in charge of this team for a long time. He had very strict social media rules, didn't want to talk about individual players, only wanted to talk about the whole team. Didn't want newfound young energy and excitement, just wanted to keep things the same and consistent and whatever. He had a very successful career in multiple spots, in multiple sports, Lou Lamoriello did. But the energy and the dynamicness on this Islanders team right now just has me so fired up.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And, you think of, who's the catalyst for all this? Lo and behold, it's the 18-year-old rookie, Matt Schaefer, who's brought this team to a whole new life. And as you said earlier, the social media presence, the fact Paul Bissonnette isn't shitting on them on a nightly basis says enough. Perennial Islanders hater Biz is this team is exciting because of Matt Schaefer. and it's like they have this newfound swagger and this identity where it's like you said, just resilient group that like refuses to lose.
Absolutely. Two goals for Schaefer against Florida in that game. 20 goals on the season. The youngest Isles defenseman, or excuse me, he is now the first Isles defenseman of any age. So not a stat about youthism here, to reach 20 in a season since Dennis Potvin did it in 1985-86, and that was in the midst of the three-peat, the glory days. Second night, that's 20th professional career. That 3-3-1 that snapped it, that latter one won us the game there. I'm forgetting the other marquee stat. It came in his goal against Montreal the other night. He passed.
Yeah, he broke the scoring record for defensemen under the age of 18. No, for 18-year-old rookie defensemen.
Yes, that's what it is. And it was, trying to think, he passed Phil Housley or something like that.
For most goals by a defenseman at the age of 18.
Yeah, I mean, this kid's breaking records he's the youngest player to reach this mark, and now he's getting to the stage of the season with as many games left as we have left, where he's not just breaking records for 18-year-olds or teenagers or whatever. He's already passed quite a few of those benchmarks. Now he's making lore as defenseman in Islanders history at 18 years old. Dennis Potvin, one of the greatest Islanders of all time. Potvin sucks.
Rafters.
In the rafters, and one of the more prominent players in the rafters too, to be honest. I mean, they're all important, but Potvin was really something else. Just ask Ranger fans. They have their own chant just to hate on him. Potvin sucks. Potvin sucks and everything. But that's what Schaefer's bringing on a nightly basis, man. I mean, the energy, and you mentioned the national guys too. I can't tell, me and you, we used to joke about it in high school every day. We'd walk in there, see the videos on social media and Instagram of Paul Bissonnette talking about how he couldn't watch this team.
It's the most boring team in hockey. It was like watching paint dry every night. Dump and chase, dump and chase.
Dump and chase, dump and chase. Guys who have been, let's face it, stuck on a rotten core for just about a decade. I mean, this team, since they got bounced in, whatever. Even the last few years they got bounced in the first round, they were not a very exciting hockey team. They have not really.
There.
In all honesty, most Islander fans, such as ourselves, would tell you this hasn't really been an exciting team to watch, even with a couple playoff trips in the last few years. Since that bubble year, since that 2020 to 2021 year, when they got bounced by the Tampa Bay Lightning in Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Really haven't been where they are at now since then. And the energy is palpable in that building right now. 12 straight sellouts at UBS Arena. They brought in, and you know, talking about Lamoriello, and now that he's gone out with the old, in with the new, you know who deserves some credit for this, Drew? It's Matthew Darsh.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Not only for all the moves that he's made, but a lot of the business decisions that he's made. He brought in a new marketing president who's taking a much more proactive approach to things, with the social media. They have, I don't know if you've seen on their Instagram, that docu-series that they have going on now. That's something the Islanders have never done in the past, where they come out with weekly episodes. It's so cool. It takes you inside the locker room and Patrick Roy's intermission speeches and stuff like that. So out with the old Lamoriello rule book. You got your new president of Parking Men, this Cheeseman guy. I'm not sure what his first name is. Mr. Cheeseman. It's a funny last name. And he said the other night, he's talking to reporters, quote, "We're leading the league in social media content and engagement. A lot of it because of what we're just mentioned is Matthew Schaefer's doing." And he talked about the relaunch of UBS Arena next year. They're obviously finishing construction on the Belmont Park racetrack next door. That's going to be done finally next year. And then we're hosting the All-Star game on top of that. So a lot of new exciting things are coming to UBS Arena. Cheeseman mentioned the fact.
But
Yeah,
that's just like
I wish it would
all
just.
team New York. Yo, you got two GMs. You got one Cashman and one Cheeseman.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, Cheese
Awesome.
Man, the head of marketing. It would sound a lot better if I knew his first name. I just sound like an idiot calling it Dude Cheese Man. Cheese Man. But I forgot. I'm sorry. But no, this guy, he was with the LA Kings for a few years, manning the marketing over there and everything like that, social media, looking out over that stuff. And you like it. You like the West Coast approach, I guess, that he's brought over to the Islanders. And it really has to do with number 48, to be honest with you. You could talk about social media and a docuseries all you want. The product on the ice is what's really changed the culture for this team and putting fans in the stands and getting people excited and buying Islanders jerseys, going to the games. And yeah, what a start out of this break. And you have to keep good pace right now in the Metropolitan because if you fall out of one of these top three spots in the Metro, Drew, I don't know if you have the standings pulled up, but if you fall out of one of those spots, you're in trouble. The Atlantic Division is playing at an incredible pace right now. A lot of those teams, I mean, Buffalo has been surging the past couple months. They're probably a playoff team. I don't think anybody anticipated the Boston Bruins playing as well as they have been playing lately, too. I'm not sure precisely, but I think if the Islanders were to fall out of one of these top three spots in the Metro, maybe because they're on the 5-game win streak now, they would be in, but I'm not too sure about that.
Yeah, I have it pulled up right now. They're tied for second in the Metro with Pittsburgh at 75 points. The next closest team is Washington at 69. So there's some breathing room here.
6 points now. That's
6
good.
points. And then you look at the standings. If the playoffs started today, the Islanders would be in the Eastern Conference, they're the seventh best team, they're in the top 10 in the league with a three-way tie at that point, where it's like there's not a lot of room for error because, as you said, the Atlantic Division is just so tight. Like Tampa Bay's in first, and it's a 9-point difference from first to fifth, with the Bruins in fifth place, having that first wild card spot. Second wild card spot, my apologies.
Yeah.
You got to play every game like it's do or die at this point. And even on the broadcast yesterday, they were talking, they were talking about the Florida Panthers, where it's like they have to win like 17 games to have a remote chance. Like their number is 97 points to get into the postseason. That's how tight this Eastern Conference is.
How crazy to just think about that in of itself. The Florida Panthers, who we talk about being a dynasty potentially in hockey,
This year, though, riddled.
riddled with injuries. Is Marchand been playing?
Yeah, Marchand's probably
Yeah.
been their best player.
Right, right. And then you
Barkov
think,
tore his ACL. He's out all year. Kachuk, he's missed a ton of games.
yeah, that's true. Kachuk's missed a ton of games. And but it's just crazy. I know injuries suck and everything like that. But you look at a team, in another sport that plays 82 games, in the Boston Celtics, they're without their best player, their guy who won them an NBA championship. Granted, he had some pretty good counterparts alongside of Jason Tatum. And they're in second place. They're ahead of the Knicks, who have been fully healthy. You can't put injuries on the whole thing, but I understand what you're saying. It's just crazy to think about people talking about them going into the season, potentially three-peating, being a dynasty, coming off back-to-back cups. And right now they're literally out of the playoff picture, and time's running out.
They're seventh in the Atlantic.
Seventh, and that's crazy. And then the Buffalo Sabres, it looks like they're finally going to break out of I don't even want to call it playoff purgatory. It's been hell. Them and my New York Jets have been bouncing off for the past 14 years now for the longest active playoff droughts in North American sports. Right now it's the Jets, but if the Sabres were to miss the playoffs this year and go 15 years, then the Sabres take over the record. Then the Jets, who will obviously not make the playoffs next year, would take over at 16 subsequently. So that's a whole nother conversation for another episode. But yeah, you talk about the Sabres. Props to them. Props to Team USA star Tage Thompson, who scored.
Nasty.
Such a good player. And Jack Eichel as well.
Jack
Yeah.
Eichel is not on the Buffalo Sabres
I'm
anymore.
sorry, my bad. Jack Eichel is
He
Jack
is
Eichel's not been a Saber in a long time. I'm
he's
sorry.
probably the most hated hockey player in that city.
I think he made. Yeah, I botched that. Believe me, my hockey brain's not that bad. I didn't mean to say that. He made his return to Buffalo the other night. Pretty recently.
Probably
Somehow hadn't
yeah,
played there until recently, and I think they booed the shit out of him.
I wouldn't be surprised. They hate that guy. That's gonna be like Edwin Diaz returning to Citi Field this season. The
Yeah,
Blues
I'll be
are
interested
down.
to. Yeah, they'll be right. There won't be fun trumpets in the way that there was.
They will boo that man into oblivion,
Yeah,
which is
you're
a
right.
conversation for another time. Until
Exactly,
Citi
and
Field returns in another time.
yes, and we'll have plenty of MLB talk coming for you as we are, 25 days away from opening day. But to stay on the topic on hand here, massive, massive win for the Islanders last night. The most resilient bunch in New York right now. Drew, I mean, I'm glad that we're talking hockey right now. And, we talked about these last few games or whatever. But I fought, you know me, I'm constantly getting ready for shows. I'm reading articles. You can always find articles on any team, whatever. There's plenty of beat writers and jobs to be had where people write about the Islanders and independent podcasters and people that do freelance stuff and creative work that cover their Islanders. So I get my Islanders fix in, and then obviously watching the games is the most important thing. I'm repping the team right now. I love my Islanders. But there is a problem in this town, and that is the lack of attention that hockey is getting, especially after coming off of this Olympic victory. Me and you, we really didn't get to talk about it that much. There's a lot of political controversy involved in that. I don't really want to get into it. Maybe that's what's holding back from people really embracing hockey. And I understand, and I talked about this on my solo edition, that it's not that the Olympic, the men's taking home the gold medal in Milan is not going to change the perception of our local hockey teams night to night. I understand that the Islanders beating the Panthers Sunday night regular season in early March is not going to be the talk of the town. It's not going to be the show open for the afternoon drive for Craig Carton on WFAN. But there needs to be a little bit more talk about this team right now.
You got to.
I know the Knicks are the most talented team in town right now. There's no doubt. Yankees probably shortly behind them. But nobody's talking about the Islanders. Meanwhile, as Cheeseman said earlier, they're getting so much national attention from NHL people across the nation. And they're getting the most clicks on social media with Schaefer. He's always dropping hilarious, awesome quotes, taking jabs at Paul Bizner or whatever. So that comes easy. But locally, we need to talk about the Islanders a little bit more.
Yeah, I agree. It's like you got this team, team that's in the hunt for the playoffs, and it's probably one of the more exciting teams in the league that no one saw coming. Where it's like they get no media attention. It feels like locally on the national they do, but locally it's it's the hottest team in New York right now.
Yeah, but I agree. But I'm saying they're the hottest team going right now. They're on the win streak. They're beating the best teams in hockey. They're in a higher position in their conference than the Knicks are. They're in more. I won't say they're in a more secure spot, but they're higher up than the Knicks are in their respective conference, and they have the most electrifying, exciting young player in this town. I don't see enough of it from, maybe this is just a WFAN listener in me. I don't know if you listen to them at all. They don't talk about them at all, and that bothers me. So if I'm going to directly shoot it at one source, it's probably them in that regard.
Yeah. Start talking about the Islanders.
Start doing it, man. The Islanders, they deserve to talk. And let's shit on the Rangers more, too. That's always fun to do.
That's always a good time. Hey, they won a game this weekend on home ice.
Did they?
Yes, they beat Pittsburgh.
Okay, so they came back in that one. I saw they were down 2-1. They tied it 2-2.
Hey, look. The one time you'll probably see Islanders fans rooting for the Rangers when they're playing Pittsburgh, team ahead of them in the Metropolitan Division.
Yeah, it's crazy. The Islanders, you talk about the standings, pretty much all of this year. Now they're creating, we just checked in on them. They're creating some separation. They're 6 points ahead of the Caps, who are under them in the playoff race. So that's wonderful. But all year, it's been either Washington or Columbus, just one or two, max 2 or 3 points behind the Islanders for that third spot. And then the Islanders only 1 or 2 or 3 points behind Pittsburgh. But you've beaten Pittsburgh your last couple of times out against them. Now they start losing games to bad teams and the likes of the Rangers. Things are coming around here. You're tied with them. I don't know if we have any more head-to-heads with them. I'd have to look that up.
And then, really quick with Pittsburgh, as you said, they lost these bad teams with the Rangers. And then yesterday in the afternoon, they trounced Vegas 5-0 on home ice. Whereas, then you're saying this, how close it is. It's like they're trying to catch each other's tails.
Exactly. And if there's an opportunity to do it, we only have so much more time left in this regular season.
It's still open a little bit.
The door's still open a little bit. We are well past the halfway point of the regular season. But if you're going to do it, I guess we're a week out, just about a week out of the Olympic Games break. Sidney Crosby's out for 3 more weeks.
Yeah.
So
that's their best player.
That's their best player by far, even with his age and everything that he's endured his career. He's still playing at a high level for them. So if they beat Vegas.
You still can't sleep on them. They still have Gino.
Right.
Very reliable number 2, and they have Carlson, probably one of the best offensive defensemen, all-around defensemen in the sport. So they're not a bad team, and you can't take them lightly.
No. Can't take them lightly. I don't, as far as, I'm just saying, as far as if we were to meet them, best of 7 series, first to win 4 games, the Islanders pound for pound, they played them better this season, and the Islanders pound for pound, I love our chances. With the series history, again, with these 2 teams have met up in the playoffs, at least in our lifetime, and with these rosters, I would feel very confident against Pittsburgh. And I guess if this were to be 2-3, I know we're tied for points right now, but if we were 2-3, I guess we would meet them in the first round, I suppose.
Yeah, well, Pittsburgh's also played 2 less games than the Islanders, so there's always that.
Right, games in hand. I didn't think about that.
Games in hand, that's why the Islanders are behind them. They played 2 more games. And
right.
You bring up the playoff thing, like how in recent years the Islanders kind of had their number. Us Islanders fans will desperately miss Tristan Jarry.
Oh, gosh.
My favorite goaltender.
Yeah, their goalie's nothing spectacular, but, man, Tristan Jarry, I miss him.
Skinner is a step up. He was with Edmonton the last 2 years. He was not the reason they went to the Cup final.
Certainly not a doubt.
That's when you have arguably the best player in the world on your team. I'm not going to say he is. I think Nate McKinnon is. It's a conversation for another time. But
that's a hot take.
It's not a hot take. It's a fair take. They're one
I think that's a pretty hot take.
Best in the world, but agree to disagree. And even with Pittsburgh, goaltending is their weakest link.
Absolutely, and anybody who follows the NHL knows that everybody thought that the Edmonton Oilers going into those 2 Stanley Cups that they fell short in, everybody thought they were the better team, or at least right there. I mean, right there, everybody thought on paper, talent-wise, they were the best team in the dance. But their caveat, their thing that held them back from getting to the mountaintop was goaltending. That was always the case with the Oilers. I'd be lying to you if I said I know their goaltending situation now, if it's better.
It's Tristan Jarry.
Oh, he's their goalie?
Yeah, they did a 1-for-1 Skinner for Jarry.
Interesting. Wow. Huh.
So they went from mid to mid.
2 desperate teams, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just a very positive outlook on the Islanders right now. There's always going to be questions, and I talk about them being in a better position than the Knicks as far as their conference goes. Also, through a broader lens, I mean, the sports books know they're better at their job than anybody else out there. You want to take a look at the odds right now. The Knicks' odds to win a championship are exponentially higher than the Islanders. Islanders' odds right now stand at 700 to 1 or something wild like that as of a couple weeks ago, whereas the Knicks were 100 to 1. So the variance there is very deep. Islanders are still, as I mentioned, they're a long ways away, but you still
have to play.
You got a month and a half to play as well, and yeah, so we'll see who's up next.
Can't take that foot off the gas pedal. Who is
It's
the next game? Now I'm really curious.
yeah.
I'll pull it up. Hold up. I got it. They don't play tomorrow. They play the Ducks on Wednesday night.
Oh, you got the road trip coming up. Forgot
Yeah,
about
can't
that.
take
Yeah.
them lightly. They're 10 games over 500. They're not a bad team. They're right in the hunt in that Western Conference.
No, and somebody would have to fact check me on this, but just my general gauge, and the Islanders have taken their lumps on these West Coast road trips,
Yeah, I mean, they're not easy going across.
and throughout time they played teams well at West, and they've taken their lumps at the same time. But all in all, I feel like the Islanders always have a tough time, particularly out in Anaheim and playing the Kings on the road. Those are always two tough places to
Yeah,
play.
they're playing a back-to-back.
Right.
Wednesday night, they play the Ducks. Thursday night, they play the Kings.
So
Friday,
two tough matchups for them.
Friday, they get the off night. And then Saturday, they play the Sharks, who are in the hunt. With
Crazy to think the Sharks, what a turnaround. I mean, when you have
Macklin
Celebrini, when you have
19-year-old Macklin Celebrini.
listen, as love Matthew Schaefer, I mean, he's the best young player in hockey right now.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And funny enough, we bring up Macklin Celebrini. Like, quick digression. Paul Maurice, the Panthers head coach, when he was asked about Matthew Schaefer, he compared his game to Macklin Celebrini instead of Cale Makar.
That's crazy. That is absolutely absurd to be.
Defenseman Celebrini is a forward. I guess just offensively plays like Macklin Celebrini's a playmaker.
It's really it's something else when and Drew, I mean, every single team that the Islanders face, every single night, you read the opposing team's head coach's quotes. They're gloating about this kid. The Panthers coach just did it. Blue Jackets coach the night before. Everybody's got great things to say. The Panthers coach just called him a franchise cornerstone for 20 years.
Oh, yeah.
2 decades.
I hope.
So it's really awesome. And yeah, getting compared to one of the best forwards in hockey, one of the best all-around playmakers, goal scorers, as an 18
chance of the heart this year. Celebrate.
And here's an 18-year-old defenseman who's getting his play style compared to him. I'm impressed by everything he does. Like the Panthers coach said it the other day too. At 18 years old, the fact that he knows when to turn it up, dial it up, go on the attack, be on a 3-on-2, be aggressive with the puck, shoot the puck at the right time, but he also knows when to dial it back and go into defensive mode and be ready to forecheck and be ready to defend, get his stick in there. It's awesome. He's just got such great senses, such a great hockey sense and gauge and everything. So, I mean, all positive things. And then his presence off the ice, as we documented, just as impactful as on the ice. And yeah, so that does it. Just Isles, Knicks here today. I wanted to talk some WBC, but getting late here on New York time, 10:30.
Episode.
But yeah, we're all excited for Friday. We got Brazil. Brazil, right? The WBC.
It's.
I want to say it's either Brazil. Right. Yeah.
Play Brazil at 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. Yes.
Brazil, they're gonna have to face Tarek Skubal or Paul.
Well, yeah. I mean, those poor kids. I mean, come on.
Yeah, it's like
you have no chance in the battle.
all like amateurs and like semi-professionals. Yeah, and here comes the Avengers.
Paul Skeens might throw 5 consecutive immaculate innings and then just come out.
I don't even know because they're on pitch counts in the WBC.
That's true, and unfortunately, I'm glad to hear. I hope it's Paul Skeens because I would like to save Skubal for a more. I'm not saying Skeens is.
I think Skubal's going to pitch against Great Britain.
Skubal's only pitching once. That's already been announced.
Against Great Britain.
He's prioritizing, and whatever. That's totally fine.
His agent Boris. I mean, look, we'll see what happens. We can touch on this in another episode. It's late.
Yeah.
So school tomorrow.
School tomorrow, and thank you for joining us. If you made it all the way through, we appreciate it, and we're going to see you very soon. Peace.